Let me describe someone to you. Maybe you'll recognize them. They're wonderful on paper, kind, loyal. They give and give, but every relationship ends the same way, with them sitting in a quiet room, phone in hand, asking the same three-word question: Why me again? Different faces, different cities, same heartbreak, same ending. Here's what I've learned after years of working with hurting people. When the same pain keeps finding you, the problem usually isn't the people you're choosing. It's the wound that's doing the choosing. And if you don't heal that first, I'll tell you plainly, your next relationship will not save you. It will simply meet the unhealed you and break into the same place. But there's good news, and we're going to get to it because that wound has a name, and what has a name can be healed. Now, stay with me. By the end, I'm going to give you one shift that changes everything, and it's not what most people expect. My name is Dwayne Dwyer, the mindset coach, and this is Reframing the Image of Relationships.
Drums in my cage, heat on the sunrise. We coming with order, cutting the old ties. Love need a frame up, truth in the lineup. If it was cooking, we straighten it right up. Sweet like the slow jam, rough like the war call. Talk with your whole chest, no more pretending. If it is half love, we do not cry for it. Bring me the real thing, let it end quick. Step in the circle, face what you started. Name every pattern, break what was hardened. Hearts need a blueprint, words need alignment. Hands to the sky, now we ready for timing. Reframing the image of relationships. Say it, say it, say it. Reframing the image of relationships. We not playing no relationship. Yeah, say we want it, we want it. Relationship. Yeah, say no more sideways love. The Mindset Academy. Bring the light, bring the fire. The Mindset Academy. If you want soft talk, come with a clean heart. If you want real peace, do your part. No more mixed signals, no more two faces. We beating a drum line till truth takes places. Wine to the rhythm, still keep it holy. Eyes on the vision, no more lonely. If you bring chaos, we call it out plainly. If you bring healing, we hold it down daily. Ours is a war chant for love out of order. We draw the line now, no stepping over. Chant in the midnight, sing in the daylight. If it is not right, we will rewrite. Reframing the image of relationships. Say it, say it, say it. Reframing the image of relationships. We not playing no relationship. That's what we want it, we want it.
Good morning and welcome to this month's episode of Reframing the Image of Relationship. My name is Dwayne Dwyer. I go by the Mindset Coach, and I am joined by Lisa Keys, the voice of reason. Lisa, it has been another glorious month. How are you doing, and how's everything going today?
Everything is fabulous. I can't believe it has been a month. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here with you another month of coming together and growing constantly. There's so much we do throughout the month to get here. So we constantly are in community. So I just appreciate these conversations that we have. So thank you. Everything's going well. How about for you?
Yeah, so true. Everything is going well for me as well. And you're right. Do me a favor and bring up the don't miss an episode, whatever the banner's called. There you go. Never miss a broadcast because you're right. We do a lot, and I think it's a lot for people to try to remember. So if you just scan that QR code, this one. If you scan that QR code, I think I'm pointing at the right one, whichever one, the one that's in the corner, the one that says never miss a broadcast. If you scan that, then it will keep you abreast of the things that we do every month. That way, you don't have to try to fit it to memory. Again, the other side of it is if you're on YouTube, make sure that you find that notification bell, hit the drop down arrow beside it and hit notify all. That way you'll know every time we get ready to go live. I intentionally make sure I put a tag in YouTube so that if you are subscribed to the channel, you get a notification on your phone. So never miss the broadcast was created for everybody out there. That way you'll get email notifications of what's upcoming, so forth and so on. So again, like you said, scan that. And to your point, everything is good with me. As you guys can see, I've been a little busy. We've all been a lot busy, and I think you guys are the recipient of it. So that said, if you like the intro, put a one in the comment section. I really want to see that. I need your feedback. If you like the intro to this show, the one that we just created literally yesterday, put a one in the comment section. That way we can see it. Because again, your feedback is important to us, and that's the thing that kind of keeps us moving forward. Okay, I'm seeing the one, so thank you guys. Um, as always, it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be able to share in conversation, talking about the goodness of God and how it pertains to relationships. Because it's a lot that we may have gotten wrong. And if you are with us, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, or whatever, make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure that you say good morning, and make sure you share it with somebody else. Because again, this is how we share the information that we talk about. We don't want to keep it to ourselves, like it's my precious. Right? No, it's public information. So share it to your friends, your loved ones, and things of that nature. And here's the best part about it. If they receive it, great. If they don't receive it, great. It's the same response. It doesn't change. Don't own another person's outcome. You just do your part and let the chips fall where they may. So that said, because you guys are here, we like to acknowledge you by name. I do not take that lightly. You could be anyplace else, but you're here with us on this beautiful Saturday morning, and we thank you. So good to see you, and welcome to the rebirth of Nick D. Crystal Everett, good to see you. Robin Brower, it's always good to see you. His divine appointment, as always, good to see you, and welcome. And again, anybody else out there, make sure that you get in the comment section. Yes, it's Maya. Good to see you, and welcome as well. Yeah, anybody else out there, again, let us know that you're here so that we can get started. Speaking of getting started, again, everything that you give to this community, we appreciate it. We thank you for all your support. It does not go unnoticed. Robin, thank you. I got you last night at closing. I just didn't see it until afterwards. So thank you again for your support, and whatever anybody else gives, again, it comes back into the community. And we don't take that lightly. Um, am I missing anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. I know I do a lot of talking in the beginning.
Oh, you're going to mention August 8th?
Yes, I will in a hot second. But thank you for reminding me. I will. But what I do want to do, I kind of want to jump into this conversation now. I think this is going to be a good conversation. So you guys might want to get your pen and your pad ready, because it's going to be some relevant, pertinent information that may change the way you see things. And so the first talking point for today is titled "The Orphan Spirit: Why You Feel Alone Even in a Full Room." Now, I know that kind of it sounds like a twist, but just go with me and humor me for a second, right? Because long before you meet the one, you already carry a story about whether you are safe, wanted, or worth staying for. For many people, that story was written by a wound of a broken attachment. An orphan spirit is what we tend to call it. And they take it with them into every relationship without ever naming it. This is the one thing to heal first. I'm going to say it again. This is the one thing to heal first, because it's the soil everything else grows in. Now, Rumi made an amazing quote a long time ago, and it says, "The wound is the place where the light enters." I say it again. The wound is the place where the light enters. Scripture tells us that when my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord would take me up. Psalms 27:10. And John 14:18 says, "I will not leave you, I will not leave you comfortless. I will come to you." Statistically speaking, 61% of adults report at least one adverse childhood experience, and 16% report four or more. This report comes from the CDC. The wound is closer to normal than rare. 30% of Americans say they feel lonely at least once a week. 10% feel it every day. That said, Lisa, I have a question. Why do you believe so many people carry a deep sense of being unwanted or left into adulthood, even when they were provided for and never physically abandoned?
This question, I'm going to tell you, when I was looking into this question and thinking into it, it made me think. Always go back to, like you said, childhood. So we always have to go back there, right? And because provision and belonging are the two different needs, I think, that you mentioned here, right? So they're two different needs. And only one of them can be met with resources. The other is met with nurturing. And so it made me think about the prodigal son, right? I know that's a familiar story to a lot of people, right? So when we're children, I think that when we get to a place when we're in aware, we are asking two questions: Am I safe or am I wanted? You know, you're thinking of safety and want in your parent wanting you. You know, you hear oftentimes people say, "Well, my mother never said she never hugged me," or "My father never told me he loved me." So you hear some of those things in a lot of adult conversations. And so it just reminded me of those two things as a child, and it made me think about when I was younger. Did I ever think about my safety? Yes. Did I ever think about am I nurtured or does my parent want me? Yes, I thought about that. So food, shelter, and a roof over your head are what we talked about when you talk about the help me out right here. The pyramid. My as
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yes, I couldn't think of it. So it made me think about that, right? So only presence, attention, and being generally known answers the second question, right? In children. So when you think about the prodigal son, he was upset with the grace that he showed his absent son when he came, right? And he wasn't mindful that he even though he had the shelter, he had provisions, he had the service, he had everything he needed, but he didn't have the nurturing that he wanted from his father, because he's like, well, why you didn't celebrate me, why you didn't give me this, right? But he has everything else, but the thing that he focused on, and there was some jealousy there, because he saw that his father extended grace to the other son who wasn't there. So it makes you think about you're in your home, you have all that you need, but you think you have all that you need. But the simple sitting down and talking, asking you how's your day, those things matter to not only children, young adult, and adults. I mean, they matter to everyone. And so I think that when I thought about this particular question, it made me think about the provision, and it made me think about belonging. And so I'll end there. I'll stop there.
Yeah, I like that. And for those of you who don't know the story of the prodigal son, go take a look at it. Because the story of the prodigal son is two male children. The younger son deciding that he wants his inheritance now, and so he takes that and go and live in the world, and then after exhausting all of his his wares, he ended up finding himself sleeping with hogs and eating the same things that they're eating, and then realizing that I was living a whole lot better with my dad. So I'm gonna go back and ask him to take me in as a servant. But then when he go home, the father was excited, exceeding joy, and received him back and restored him back to his proper position. But his brother was a little jealous as it pertains to that. He was like, well, and I kind of get it. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. I get that. We humans, right? You just gonna receive him back. He just left and left me with all this work I got to do by myself. I get that. But it's an awesome story. So go take a look at that. I look at this question and I relate it to going back to your formative years. We talk about attachments and things of that nature. And unfortunately, a lot of us were not taught those things, what attachments are and how to create a secure attachment in a child and so forth and so on. And so the less secure, I'm going to say it that way, the less secure the attachment is, the more of a ditch you tend to dig, if that makes sense. And I'm just using that as a easy to understand statement. Now, that said, the less secure the attachment is from the child to the parents, specifically the mother, the less secure the attachment is. What you'll find is that those things tend to become etched in stone in that person's life. And so, unfortunately, the thing that they feel they were missing as a child, known or unknown to them, becomes the thing that sticks with them as an adult. I even go as far as saying, because I'm going to talk detailed about the connection between entropy and atrophy one of these days. Well, if I section my life up to such a degree that I've seen this before, I don't like that. I don't want to be involved with that. So I put up guardrails to protect against that. then that might be an area, a functional area in my life to where I need work done. Well, my avoidance, using that word intentionally, my avoidance of that thing makes the work that is supposed to be done, the benefit of the work that is supposed to be done, it makes that thing move towards disorder. So the more you avoid a thing, the less work you do in a thing, the more it becomes disorderly in your life. Same thing as we talk about as it pertains to coaching or whatever that looks like. You can't say, "Oh, I'm focused on growth," but then stop focusing on growth, and then next thing you know, you grant yourself the moving ahead of the growth. That's not how it works, because the less work you do, the more toward this order you move. So now, when you look at these people who carry a deep sense of unwanted or left into adulthood, well, it comes from that. It comes from them not being intentional about doing the work that was never done in them in an early state in their life, and therefore it continues to move this towards disorder. It's also like being in a relationship, right? And you see in the beginning there was a hint of disrespect, a hint of verbal abuse, a hint of psychological abuse, a hint of emotional abuse. Left unchecked, it gets worse over time. So you cannot say, I didn't see that coming. Yeah, you did. You just chose to ignore it and allow it to fester. And the more it exists, the more it will persist. So that's kind of like my thoughts there. Anything else you want to add, Lisa?
Keep forgetting to unmute. No, I mean I liked everything you said. And I think that it's important for us to continue to work on that. You know, the question has so many layers to it, right? We carry a deep sense of unwantedness. So it's worth unpacking, like you said, the people you mentor or coach. Um, it's worth you, and you know I'm pretty sure you have heard this over and over and over again. It's a common denominator in a lot of things that adults have to work through, right? And if we don't continue to do the work, then we're going to find ourselves in this loop and not understanding that it's something that we're creating because we're so attached to it, like you talked about, the attachment theory. And what we see in our homes is what we're going to repeat. So I'll stop there. I want to
No,
get ahead.
no, you're good. You're good. I greatly appreciate that. I want to bring up a couple of comments that were made earlier, or as we're having this conversation. Crystal identified past relationships, and I think that's important. I think a lot of times past relationships, although we view past relationships as a thing that causes damage, I also believe that past relationships are a thing that reveals damage as well. So I can't just look at it through one lens and not recognize that the other side is available as well. If it caused damage, I think a large portion of that damage that it may have caused, I seen it coming. I just thought it was going to look different. I thought it was going to change. I thought it was going to get better. I thought I can change this person, to where at the end of the day, it's not my responsibility to change a person. That's their responsibility and their responsibility alone. So thank you for saying that. His divine appointment said, I think about, am I good enough? And I think that's a big one.
Mhm.
Am I good enough? The constant measuring, bringing up Robbins at the same time. Am I good enough? And the constantly measuring myself, whether I'm doing the measuring or whether my parents did the measuring. Those things are not good. And over a long period of time, what you find is that it becomes problematic, it becomes detrimental, and it becomes debilitating. So we have to be cautious as it pertains to that. Okay. Thank you guys for that. And listen, I got it right this week, y'all. Just want y'all to, I mean, today, not this week. I got it right today. So I want to kind of remind y'all of the poll question y'all took last night. So that said, I want to bring up that poll question, if you don't mind, please. Um, I want you to be honest. I say again, be honest. What have you unintentionally carried into a new relationship? Is it trust issues from prior betrayals? Is it quiet fear they'll eventually leave? Is it walls I built to protect myself, or all of the above? Whatever your answer is, make sure that you hit the appropriate number to go along with it. One, trust issues from prior betrayal. Two, quiet fear they'll eventually leave. Three, walls I built to protect myself. Four, all of the above. And thank you guys for your participation as it pertains to that, because again, I think it's important for us to see that whatever it is that we're doing, whatever it is that we've been through, it's not just me. It's something that we've all participated in. Um, that said, while they're doing that, I kind of want to give us a transition question. I know I have another question. I'm gonna skip that question, and I'm gonna go into a transition question. That transition question, I believe, kind of helps us to catapult into the meat and potatoes of this conversation, because I think that's where it really starts to get good. So, the question that I have for you is, why do people so often end up in a new relationship that recreates the exact pain they swore they would never accept again?
This one was this one I really had to sit with for a little while, right? And I believe a lot of it comes from the examples that we experienced, and a lack of direction and a lack of foundational teaching. What we look, whatever we look like at home when we're growing up, becomes our definition of love, right? So we take that and we carry that into the next relationship, not knowing and understanding that what we were learning, or what was example before us, was not love. So if love comes, if you think love is walking on eggshells, then that's what you're going to accept in your relationship. Um, if you think that love is meaning that calm registers as a person being absent, I think you talked about that last night on the Hearts and Men podcast, right? If love comes as earning, or someone, and then you think that someone is giving you and they're suspicious, and you're suspicious about their intentions. So all these different little, you know, thoughts that come to mind as you're trying to understand um, being in relationship and carrying unhealthy things. And that's why I know that, and I know it's so important for us to get counseling, get coaching, get, you know, whatever we need to help us to understand what is the way that, I'm going to say, God instructed us to be in relationship, right? And it's not about the flowers. It's not about the butterflies. It's not about I think that as as believers, and I may be going off a little bit off track, but as believers, there's no other reason to get married other than we're coming together to prove God's will. That's my thoughts. When I as I think of as I continue to think about this and learn and grow and get an understanding of what God said, I think the second layer is even a little bit deeper, right? Because unhealed pain, it seeks resolution, or does it avoid? I wanted to ask you that question as well, right? Does unhealed pain seek resolution, or does it want to avoid it being resolved?
I don't think it seeks unhealed, and I don't think it. I'm sorry. Let me go back. I think the answer to your question is, I think it's rare. That's just my opinion. I think it's rare that unhealed pain seeks resolution. I think we want to believe it does,
Mhm.
but at the end of the day, we don't produce any evidence that it does. Right? Very few people take it upon themselves to pull themselves out the pool, do the necessary work that needs to be done before they get back in the pool. I think that is probably larger. Like, think about it. Pay close attention to it. There's a lot of people talking about it. There's a lot of people talking about what quote unquote healthy relationships look like. But if you listen to what they're talking about, they're not talking about healthy relationship. They're talking about the same thing, just disguised as something different. And so the other one was, what was it? Filling a void?
Yeah, avoidance. Mhm.
Okay. Avoidance. I got you.
Mhm.
So it could be avoidance, but I think it's more so a filling a void, right? And here's why I say that. We can avoid a thing that looks familiar because we know that thing is obvious, But then the other side of it is that we're looking to fill the void of the work that we did not do. So me asking you, how do I look, is me moving you into the space of giving me positive affirmations, making me feel good about a particular thing. So then you have that. That becomes problematic. So I like that you asked that question, but if you don't mind, I'm going, unless you were not finished.
I wasn't finished. I wanted to add a few more other things that I jotted down as well. I think part of us goes back to the scene, hoping for a different ending, to that same scene of being in relationship and not taking the time to focusing on the good part of the relationship and then asking yourself these questions, am I good enough? I think that was mentioned in the chat. Um, this time he'll stay, or will she choose me? Just all those internal questions that we ask ourselves because we don't understand what being in relationship means. And so those are some of the other thoughts. This is the last thing that I think I'm going to say on this. So you're not chasing that person that you thought you were in a relationship with. You're trying to win this old argument that you have internalized within yourself, and then you're putting a new face on it, and it's dysfunction because that is what you're thriving in, and that is the unhealed work that you talked about, that you mentioned. I'll stop there.
So did I hear you just say that most times we get in relationships, if we have not done the work necessary for us to be in the relationship that we are in, we're only in that relationship because we're trying to prove something to ourselves?
Because it's only about you at this point. You're not thinking about being in relationship. You're thinking about you and trying to resolve this feeling you have, and you think that being in relationship is going to help that, because it may be the hurt happened in relationship, so you think that the resolution is going to be to get in relationship.
Bravo, bravo. I will I will say that. Bravo. I like that. Um, I think as it pertains to this question, because I love what you're saying here. If I can have the question back, please. Um, I think as it pertains to this particular question, the reason why most of us end up in, new relationships and end up recreating the whole pain, the same pain that we experienced previously, because we have not become the person that can actually be in the relationship that we say that we want. So there's no work done in me. I believe I can live by the wish factor, not the Cedric the Entertainment wish factor. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Not I wish a ninja would, but I wish I could have a relationship that looks like what I see on TV in most cases. But I have not done the work in me at all whatsoever. Nothing. The only thing I did is bought a new pair of clothes, right? So I'm wearing something different. I got new perfume, new cologne, whatever that looks like. But now I believe that that person is just going to automatically be attracted to me. Oh, I started saying some positive affirmations and things of that nature. Oh, I just started back reading the Bible, and because I'm reading the Bible now, no, listen to me and listen to me well. I've been saying it for quite some time, and I'm gonna keep saying it. There are two readings that happens in the Bible. You read it, and it reads you. If you're not owning any version of who you are compared to what it is saying, then the Bible's not doing you any good right now. The Bible must work in you before it works through you. Some of us tend to hide behind what I tend to call churchianity. I said that. So we go to church and we get the feel good message, right? And the feel good message ends up the same way. And it ends up based upon a notion of entitlement, because I have not done the work, the foundational work that leads to I have not done the foundational work that leads to the liberational work. I say it again. I have not done the foundational work which leads to the liberational work. I can't become liberated until I understand who it is that is liberating me. Once I understand who the Most High is and accept Him as the Most High God, and I have a desire to get to Him, then the only way I can get to Him is by going through the Son, which means I need the Son. Once I get the Son, I receive the Son, right? And then the Son gives me the access point. And I can only go through the access point with that which he leaves me, which is the Spirit of the Most High. And it is the Spirit of the Most High that actually does the work in me as I relinquish the things that I am trying to hold on to as guardrails. Listen, I'm gonna say it like this. There's some things internal to you, to me, to everybody under the sound of my voice that you are protecting. You are holding on to it regardless of whatever it is. And it doesn't matter how much information you consume. You'll take that information and twist it till it fits your narrative. And then that becomes it. Until you learn to stop protecting that thing, because that thing might be the very thing that is creating the relational outcome that you're experiencing. So now that thing has to go, because until you relinquish that, the Holy Spirit can't change it. Once he changes you, then now you can start seeing certain things. I think it was somebody else in the comment section. We'll get here in a second. Someone said that because they keep focusing on what they don't want. That's exactly right. Your focus determines, okay, wherever your attention goes, your energy flows. So you keep saying what you don't want. I don't want this, and I don't want that, and I don't want this, and I don't want that. And next thing you know, you get in this shiny brand new relationship. It looks really good on the outside. He smells good, she smells good, he looks good, she looks good. They got a nice car, they got a nice job, and all that other great stuff. Then when you realize you buy it and you bring it home, the interior is rotten to the core. Not that the person is rotten, it's just that they haven't done the work either. So you haven't done the work and that person haven't done the work, but yet you're looking for a relationship that flourishes. It can't flourish because the both of you are going to simply use one another to make each other feel good. That's how it works. So the only way you're going to get there is become intentional about your growth and development, intentional about overcoming the things that are not healthy, intentional about alignment. Once you align yourself properly, you might be surprised at what actually happens. But I do like what you said. You getting into new relationships to prove a point. Man, stop. Bars. All right, let me let me look at some of these comments. And there it is. Crystal was the one who said it because that is what they are focused on, what they don't want. Absolutely. Yes, as Maya said, it's familiar, coupled with the idea that this time will be different. Yeah. I mean, I get it. We keep talking. We, and thank you for saying that, Maya. We like to talk about time, and we think time is the thing that changes things. Mm, it's what happens in the space of time that changes things. But that's a whole nother conversation. His divine appointment said prior condition of needing to be in a relationship and what we've accepted in the first relationship. I do like that you said that. Let's see. Robin said some people often repeat old pain in a new relationship because the three main reasons: familiarity, the need to heal past wounds, and unconscious habits. I can agree with that. Let's see. So is that what I want someone to complete me or make me happy? I think she is saying that in relation to what I highlighted what you said. So yeah, yeah, proving the point of there is a person out there for me, right? Because you know how we do it. Well, there's somebody for everyone. We say certain things like that. Well, I just want you to be happy. Your person, stop. Stop it. Stop it. Because what you're doing is you're creating this jigsaw puzzle mentality that you have to go on a quest to find the right match for you. No, you have to become the person that perfectly aligned with the creator who created you. And then once you do that, you're only making yourself available to the pool of people who've done that. And trust and believe, don't get it twisted. There are people in that pool, they in the line, they just in the pool. So just because a person says a thing does not mean what they say is true. Um, so let me see. I did the opposite. I avoided relationship because I did not want to have to deal with another person that would in turn force me to deal with myself. Absolutely. That's really, if I can just be honest, going back to what you just said, there's really only one reason to get married, and that's to prove the will of the Most High. Facts. Listen, that is scripture 100%. If you don't believe us, go read it for yourself. That's the number one reason, right? Having a child is the secondary reason. But the number one reason is proving the will of the Most High. In the space of relationship is growth and development. It is the ultimate training ground. That's how we get trained because we're in relationship with the Most High. by way of Christ, and he gives us instructions. Those instructions are for us to do, which means the Bible is a practical guide. If we're not putting it into practice, then it's a good novel.
So, question. So you said secondary was the children, right? So the children are not for us to, they're ours, dress up and they're cute, and then they're not just ours to own because I've always wanted a child, but they're ours to train up so they can go, right?
My initial question for anyone, I don't mean no harm when I ask this question. I'm just asking a question for a person to consider. Anyone who tells me that I've always wanted a child, in my mind, spidey sense start tingling. And my next question is that why did you always want a child? Chances are what you're going to find is that person going to eventually, they won't say it up front, but if you keep talking to that person, eventually they want somebody to love them for them. That's it. That's all they want. They want somebody to love them unconditionally. And
That's
so if I have
okay.
a child, that child will love me unconditionally. It's my child. It's not your child. That
That's
child
right.
belongs to the Most High.
That's thank you.
Period and point blank. That's always been the answer. That child belongs to the Most High. But here's the catch. If I don't belong to the Most High, when I have a child, I will not view that child as a child that belongs to the Most High. Therefore, I don't train them up in a way that they should go. I train them up in a way that I'm going to keep. I'm going to hold on to that child for dear. I'm going to ride that child like Seabiscuit when they become an adult, because that child's going to take me to the promised land. You're going to view that child as your God. I cannot, man, listen.
So is that why,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
and so is that why there's this great number of dysfunction in adults because of what was put on them as their parents as children?
Bad parents begot bad parents.
Okay.
There is no other way of saying that. Now, again, bad does not necessarily mean that at the core they're bad. It's just that they rejected training.
Mhm.
They did not open themselves. Like, that's why I keep saying we've been going to church for years. I don't know that the Bible has been recreated with brand new doctrine and principles and things like that. No, the Bible has been. So why is it that we've been going to church for years and no one was teaching us for years?
It's always been there. Mhm.
The Bible, like we make little cute little acronyms and say it because it sounds good. Basic instructions, but what is it? Basic instructions
Or leaving Earth.
before leaving Earth. That's it. Basic instructions before leaving Earth. Interesting. But you don't look at it as an instruction guide. It's I can't make this up. Okay, we gonna get let's pull up our poll to see what some of the responses were, because I'm loving it. So we got 20% of people say that trust issues from prior betrayal. We got 60% say that because walls I built to protect myself, and 20% says all of the above. Now, I love everybody's response. And for me, I tend to not do this most cases when it comes down to polls. But here's why D is the most appropriate answer. Most of us carry all three at once, and that bundle has a name. It's what unhealed attachment looks like when it walks into a new relationship. Naming it is the first step to healing. I think anything outside of that puts me in the victimhood seat. You got to pay attention. Trust issues from betrayal. A quiet fear that they will leave. Walls I built to protect myself. That means that the issue was external to me. So if and again, this is not judging anybody, I just want everybody to hear it. If I keep that posture, then what ends up happening is that I don't necessarily get to the root cause because I leave it there. But if I recognize that, yep, I have trust issues, stop. I have trust issues, stop. Don't talk about quiet fear, walls I built. So if I have trust issues with quiet fear and walls I built, then now I recognize that all of this, as it pertains to relationship, is internal to me, right? Relationship. The root word is relate, how we relate to one another. So I have to be a part of the equation. Every time I set the conditions to where it's always the other person, I am not taking responsibility of anything. And for the person who does not take responsibility for anything should not be in relationship with anyone. And I hate to say it that way, but that is the honest truth. That's not saying that I'm not saying that about you who took the poll. No, what I am saying What I am saying is that for relationships to be healthy, each person needs to be responsible first. Once you become responsible first, then accountability is available. I say again, once you become responsible first, then accountability is available. I said this last night, I'm going to say it again today. If I try to become accountable without first being responsible, then it's all you. You, and you. And it's always going to be you because there's nothing about me that's wrong. Okay. That's it. Let's move on to the next talking point, please.
Ooh,
Because
this one right here,
well,
this question.
well, I mean, we didn't entertain our question. Now it's on them. Right? The next talking point is your wound is choosing your partners. Now, an unhealed attachment doesn't sit quietly. It selects. It pulls people toward what feels familiar instead of what is healthy, which is why a different person is often turns out to be the same relationship wearing a new face. The pattern will keep you repeating until the wound underneath is healed. William Faulkner said, "The past is never dead. It's not even past." I say it again. The past is never dead. It's not even past. Scripture tells us that as a dog returneth to his vomit, so a fool returneth to his folly. That's Proverbs 26:11. See, I think we a lot of times take God's grace for granted. I say again, I think a lot of times we tend to take God's grace for granted. I think a lot of things that we call grace, it really is his mercy. Okay. A lot of things we call grace, it really is his mercy, right? His mercy means that I don't get the punishment that I deserve. I say again, mercy means I don't get the punishment I deserve. Grace means I received a thing that I really wasn't qualified for. So when we really package it like that in my mind, it's like, okay, maybe I now view grace as an entire thing of entitlement, but not necessarily realizing that there's some things that I'm responsible for to get to grace. When we go back and look at the dispensations really paint the picture for you because there's some covenant relationships that lead to this covenant relationship. And a lot of times we think that we can leapfrog all the covenants to get to the covenant of grace or the dispensation of grace and the covenant under that dispensation. But then that's come to Bible study. We'll make it all make sense. 60 to 67% of second marriages, listen to me and listen to me well. 60 to 67% of second marriages and roughly 73% of third marriages end in divorce. Changing the person rarely changes the pattern because we carry the unhealed into the next quote unquote perceived covenant, which in most cases is not a covenant, it's a contract. But again, come to Bible study, we'll talk more about that. So the question I have for you guys, because we're gonna transition into point number 3. I really want you guys to think into this question. And that question is, if a person keeps meeting the same heart in a different person, what is that pattern trying to teach them about themselves rather than the people they keep choosing? I want you guys to kind of sit with that. Sit with that for a second. If a person keeps meeting the same heart in a different body, what is that pattern trying to teach them? You.
Common denominator.
Right? You about yourself rather than about the people they keep choosing. I'm just saying. So yeah, it is heartbreaking, bro. It is, man. It is extremely heartbreaking. Now, listen, I'm not pinning you against the wall and making you answer this on stage. If you want to, I mean, not on stage, on in the comment section. If you want to answer it in the comment section, that is perfectly fine, right? But again, I'm an advocate of the thing that I refuse to announce out of my mouth is the thing that still have me in bondage. So just kind of keep that in mind as we move on to talking point number 3, which is all about counterfeit intimacy when attachment hunger wears the mask of love. See, broken attachment confuses intensity with intimacy. It calls anxiety chemistry. It calls control commitment. It calls trauma bond true love. Healing is what finally teaches you to tell the counterfeit from the real thing. Before you hand over your heart, that's key. Before you hand over your heart. See, a lot of us, we think we're in a place in our mind, and then because of opportunity and space, we get into this relationship, and then we discover something about the person, and then we call it discernment, foolishness. Foolishness to the third power. Discernment would have told you that beforehand. But again, discernment probably would tell me more about myself than it does about somebody else. Discernment might have told me that, hey, you know what? You're not ready for a level of commitment of that magnitude. So do not go out there, and I'm using this term loosely, and infect somebody else with your unhealed self. That's what discernment really does. Discernment makes me talk to me about me first.
Yes.
First. Okay. Stephen Chbosky says, we accept the love we think we deserve. We accept the love we think we deserve. I'll leave that right there. I ain't gonna go into detail about that. 1 John 4:19 says, we love him because he first loved us. Now, I think, because we talk about this in Bible study, and I'll share a little bit about this, I think there has to be some work that is done to understand what love is, where love came from, and how it is shared. Because there's a lot of underlining issues that equate to how I feel. I say it again, there's a lot of underlining issues that equate to how I feel. And because of how I feel, then it must be love. False. Stop. Big red X. This will be a big black X. Big X. Love has nothing to do with how you feel. However, love can invoke a feeling.
Yes.
That's the other side of it. God is love. So if I am absent of him, I cannot reflect it. I can't. We love him because he loved us first. So the only thing we're doing is reverberating back to him what he already gave us.
Yes.
So how can I claim to love someone if I do not know or ever experience the love of God? So now I become the vessel in which it comes to me, through me, to someone else. That is love. And if we're not talking about it in that capacity, then we're only kidding ourselves and setting ourselves up for the next heartbreak. Okay, I'm gonna get off my step stool for a second. Statistically speaking, 38% of Americans describe themselves as having a secure attachment. That came from YouGov in 2023. Meaning the majority are relating to some form of insecurity, often mistaking that anxiety for passion. Lisa, I've been talking long enough. I'm going to turn the floor over to you. Because my question for you is, how can a person tell the difference between real, secure love and the adrenaline of attachment hunger that only feels like love?
This is the question I was talking about. Because you really have to take your time to think into this, right? So to me, when I thought about secure love, so when you think about, I thought about Christ's love. That's the foundation of the relationship because I am the bride of Christ, right? We are. And so I thought about secure love. So that builds and it can wait because you're teaching and you're learning and you're striving, right? You're not anxious, you're not urgent, and like you can't wait. That's the opposite of that attachment that you may have because you're fearful of something. So then I thought about how, the calmness of, being at peace and understanding your identity in secure love, right? And then and if you think about the other aspect of it, the attachment is you get wound up and then you get anxious and you call that chemistry, like, oh, how that person makes you feel. And those feelings are fleeting. They come and they go. They come and they go. So all that ebbs and flows and ups and downs of all these feelings that you're experiencing. I remember the mindset coach would say that's just gas, but he used to say that anyway. But then in absence, right? in the absence, of that person, are you safe and you're secure, you're silenced in the presence of being in an environment by yourself? Or do you panic? Or are because you have a delayed response? All those things are indicators to you. Because if someone doesn't respond back to you immediately, are you beginning to create some stories in your mind? So these are some of the things. I have a big list that contrasts some of these behaviors that we have to be mindful of and see within ourselves. That's the self-examination that we have to do. Does this increase your anxiety, or are you not focusing on peace? So all those things. And I think that when we think about um, excitement and the anxiety, they're close cousins, right? So we can't confuse them. The excitement and anxiety, right? But peace is peace is different. Is different. And it cannot be counterfeited. Not for a long time. You can't counterfeit peace for a long time. You can't trick someone into believing you're peaceful for a long time, because it's going to come out. If you listen and you observe, which I think is one of the most important things that we do, not look with our eyes to satisfy, like, oh yeah, that's what I want. Yeah. Because when we do that, we make bad decisions. So I have some more. I got a whole bunch more on this, but I'll stop there because I don't want to do it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say this piece because I love what Terry asked, and I think it goes hand in hand with what we're talking about right now. So the question here is, how can a person tell the difference between real, secure love and the adrenaline of attachment hunger that only feels like love? Now bring Terry's question to the forefront because I want everybody to pay close attention to this. He said, thoughtful question, Coach Swain. Choosing blood over righteousness and not choosing God over blood. I mean, that's what they do at work. That's what he's spot on. Here's what that means. Because some of you see that, you see blood, and the first thing you think of the blood of Jesus, right? But that's not the blood he's talking about. He's talking about familial, family, right? My parents, my cousins, my sisters, so forth and so on. I ain't trying to be funny. They people too. Go back and look at the life of Christ. They came in and said, hey, your mama and your brother's outside. He turned around. He said, who is my mother? Who is my brother? He said, those of you who do the will of my Father. There was another point in time to where she gave him instructions. Hey, we had a wedding and we out of wine. Make it happen. It's not yet my time, woman. You cannot pit what the will of the Father is. I'm sorry. You cannot pit family wants, desires, and wishes against the will of the Father. Why am I bringing that to the conversation now? Because a child's first experience to secure attachment is a parent who understands the will of God. And they raise that child according to the will of God. That's why gentle parenting is such an abomination. There's no such thing as gentle parenting. There's only parenting. Either you're parenting your child or you're not parenting your child. That's it. That is it. Am I parenting according to the will of the Most High, or am I parenting according to the will of the world? And the will of the world says that YouTube can raise my child. The will of the world says that the school system can raise my child. The will of the world says that my sister or my brother can raise my child because that's their auntie. No, all of that is wrong. The only people who are qualified to raise that child is the one that God blessed them with and the word that he gave them. That word through that parent, again, God love to me, from me to you. Same thing with child rearing. God's love to me, from me to them. So now through that understanding of love, I raise them according to the love of God. I raise them according to his will. I raise them according to his instructions. So now they not only have a secure attachment with me, but I teach them who he is, which means now I'm creating a secure attachment in them to him. So they're not foreign of who the Most High is. They're not foreign of his law, statutes, and commandment at an early age, because as a teenager, there's supposed to be a thirst in them to get to him by way of Christ. That's called modeling. We model that for them. A child who is raised in an environment other than that, have a lot of work to do as a young adult. That goes back to the Bible. Knowest thou what thou readest? How can I, lest someone teach me? So now this child needs someone to teach them because their parent didn't teach them. So this adult child who already have these ideas in their head, I'm looking for my Prince Charming. Somebody's going to come and sweep me off my feet. Somebody's going to come and rescue me from my situation. Somebody's going to come and, come in this house and clean this house up and take care of all these kids. I'm created by 5 different women, but I got all custody of all of them because this, that, and the third. All of these things that we make up in our head. Nobody is going to sign up to be a messenger of your mess. So now you have to be taught. Make no mistake about it. The Bible is a dissension of instructions. The master, Christ, was the master teacher. He created he created disciples first. Those disciples go on to become apostles. Those apostles go on to train churches, telling them how to be in the body of Christ. So now the only thing that comes from them are disciples. Disciples begat disciples, begat disciples, begat disciples. That's how it works. And for whatever reason, we're living in a land right now to where instructions become like pain points. If you can't tell me what to do. You can't tell me how to, I do it my own way. Okay, good luck with it. Because there will come a time, I hate to say it this way, there will come a time where everybody is going to have to stand before the judgment seat. And you're going to have to atone for not raising that child up in a way that I am not exempt. Let me be the first person to say, I am not exempt. You're going to have to atone for not raising that child up in the way that they should go. It doesn't matter what they think they want to do or what you thought you were doing. You're going to have to atone for that. That's why having children should never be a thing of sport, which we've turned it into. It's a thing of enticement that comes from an entity that said, we're going to give you this thing called child tax credit. So now I have this child to where, I get credit for having this child at the end and I get more money. Come on, man. What are we doing? So when we go back to this question, this secure attachment comes from one place and one place only. And if we follow his instructions, the security is there. Emmanuel, God in you. Okay, I'm gonna pause right there. Lion mane this morning, lion mane, I'm sorry. I paused because I thought you wanted to come back and finish saying what you were saying.
I was listening. I may have need to give me some lion manes, I guess. But no.
It's we cannot go around. Okay. Make no mistake about it. The gospel is the good news. It is the good news. But I got a dumb question that I'm not going to give you the answer to, by the way. It's just a question for you to consider. What is it the good news of? Mm-hmm. That's the question for everybody to consider within themselves. The gospel is the good news. What is it the good news of? When you really stop and think about that, interesting. I never thought about it that way. In fact, I don't recall, because again, I was raised in the church. I don't recall nobody ever telling me. I recall them saying it's the good news, but what's it the good news of? Why is it good news? Because your first inclination is one thing, but then if that thing is good, then why is that good news then? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna stop there because y'all know how we can get on our on our soapbox here and just keep going. Where we at?
4.
We on what now?
4.
No, we got an
audience question. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we got an audience question. So, in your opinion, when someone falls hard and fast, quick, all in my feels, I just think about them 24/7 all the time. I wonder what she doing. Where's she at? Where's she, you know what I'm saying? Who she with? Mm-hmm. When someone falls hard and fast for a near stranger, just met him last week. Mm-hmm. Are they responding to that person or to an empty place inside of themselves they desire that person to fill?
I'm sorry, an empty place.
You just throw it out there quick. So, I ain't going to wait on the answer. Just throw it out there quick. But I think that answer is pretty obvious. I think it's that simple. But I also have a poll question, another poll question for you guys. So I want to kind of put that out there as well, because I think this poll question continues to pull into it, right? Um, what's the healthiest sign a person is truly ready for their next relationship? What is the healthiest sign a person is ready for their next relationship? Is it they found someone new? That person just, time, the universe lined it up perfectly for me and that person to be, that I'm just saying. Or number two, time has passed since breakup. It's been a long time. Number three, feeling whole in that peace. And number four, I'm tired. I'm tired of being single. I'm so tired. I'm sorry. So yeah, that ain't that what Greens? Y'all need to stop. Okay. As everybody, what you say?
I was gonna say intensity is not confirmation. Speed is not the spirit. God has never needed us to skip discernment to accomplish his will. Never.
But here's the funny part. Here's the funny part. There's a caveat to number three, right? Number three isn't just flat. It's
Okay.
because look at how it begins.
Okay.
Feeling whole in that peace.
Mm-hmm.
Did I construct it? I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Okay.
Did I construct it? Did I remove myself from certain situations and all I do is stay at home, and therefore because I don't I think that's it. I think a lot of times, right? Please respond with numbers, please. Please respond with my numbers. I think a lot of times we construct the environment to where I am at peace, because if I'm around too many people, I get frustrated. They get under my skin. They get on my nerves. I don't even like people like that.
So you had to test things, what you're saying? You have to put yourself in the environment. You have to see. Because where's the evidence coming from that did I feel it? Because
there
I've been
you
in
go.
prison for a little while. So I've been in prison for a little while.
There
So
we
now,
go.
all right.
Yeah, just because you turn yourself into a hermit don't mean you feel at home and at peace. That you hold in that peace. No, you just turned yourself into a hermit to where no one can challenge your assumptions and opinions. But open yourself up and allow somebody to say something different to you. See what you feel in. See, let somebody say something that at one point in time used to tick you off and see what you feel in there. See, the thing must be tested, like you said, that used to move you before. You cannot say, oh, I'm at whole and I'm peace. If the first thing I hear that I don't like, I pop off. My temperature rises. I start breathing heavy. No, you ain't at home and at peace. You hell waiting to happen. Listen,
You start sweating.
yeah. You hell waiting to happen. That's all it is. You turned yourself into a ticking time bomb because you just suppressed it. And then when you get exposed, it's like, oh, wait, whoa. But then you get around a person, right? Like a Lisa Keys, and I explode, and she'll be like, wait, bring it back down. We ain't gonna let this explosion. So she kind of control it and does this right here, right? Because relationship, again, is a space of responsibility and accountability. It has to be that way. What you're claiming must be tested. I say again, what you're claiming must be tested. If there is no grounds for it to be tested, you have no claim. That's why I said it was a caveat to number three.
So one empty place calling another empty place can both be mistaken as an echo and not hearing the voice of God because you haven't done the examination.
I can't disagree with that.
Okay.
Yeah. That's kind of like where the notion of the whole echo chamber coming, because everybody's saying the exact same thing. But here's the reality of the truth. Again, when you look at the household of faith, it's an echo chamber. It has to be an echo chamber. That's what makes them set apart. Okay, I don't want to. Okay. Peculiar, absolutely. Which is what devotion. Okay, never mind. Talking point number 4. That's what we are. Yeah. From orphan to heir, where real healing actually begins. You cannot fully heal a father or a mother wound horizontally, person to person. The orphan spirit is healed vertically. when a person receives their identity as loved, chosen, and adopted by God. They stopped auditioning. I say again, they stopped auditioning human beings for a role only God was ever meant to fill. This is the one shift I promised you at the start. St. Augustine said, "Thou hast made us for thyself, O Lord, and our heart is restless until it finds rest in thee." See, Romans 8:15 says, "For ye have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear, but ye have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father." In Psalms 147, it says, "Wherefore thou art no more a servant, but a son. And if a son, then an heir of God through Christ." That's Galatians 4:7. I'm sorry. Psalms 147 says, "He healeth the broken heart, the broken in heart, and bindeth up their wounds." See, attachment is not a life sentence. Researchers documented um, earned secure attachment, people raised in insecurity who develop secure, stable bonds in adulthood through healing relationships. The wound is real, but so is the healing. So, that said, Lisa, the question for you is, why do so many people expect a spouse to heal a wound that was really about belonging and identity? And what happens to a marriage when that expectation quietly gets unmet?
Whew. This one right here. I think I mentioned it earlier, but I think people expect that it's logical and it makes sense, right? Because it happened in the relationship. So I'm going to get the resolution in the relationship, right? But not from me doing the self-examination, but from me putting that mantle on someone else. And the error is not wanting a relationship. The error is asking a spouse to do the parent's job and your savior's jobs. That's the error. Because that's the work that we have to do. We can't expect another person to do the work that should have been done, and then after we identify it wasn't done, that we need to do. Because we can't keep saying again that because I didn't have a father or I didn't have a mother or this happened in our household and I'm 50 years old, that's why my behavior is this way. I'm just saying we can't keep giving ourselves excuses. So when a person becomes your source, three things happen. There's pressure, there's failure, there's resentment, and there's contempt. Or four things. Those things are happening. And the pressure is they feel the weight that they can't do anything with it. This is not their responsibility to carry. And you don't know why they feel this weight. I think the failure is that you're trying to test and you have this expectation that was never spoken, but you have it, it's in your mind, it's your expectation, and now you think someone is supposed to read your mind. Resentment is, and I think this is one of the things that we talked about with Dr. Gottman in the Four Horsemen and contempt, right? So you resent them for not feeling it. You resent them for not feeling the space that you think that they were supposed to feel, and that's part of the reason why you entered into this relationship. That's the resentment. And I think that is, you're setting this impossible standard, and then the marriage becomes a place of disappointment, and two people just are being polite with each other. So, and I think that's how marriage dissolves without a scandal, right? There's no affairs, there's no blow up, right? But then there is this verdict that's already been established because it is slowly dissipating, and no one is talking about what's going on and the eternal weight that maybe you're trying to put on each other, and you're not having the conversations. And this is how you get to that place where you become two people who are just existing together, passing each other in the hallway, not speaking to each other, driving around the block about 10 times so you don't have to come home from work, or trying to avoid it at any cost. So I think that those are some of the things that we have to be mindful of.
Yeah, I think you said I mean, a majority of them, to be honest with you. Before I say anything else, and I'm gonna keep mine short on this one because you covered a wide array of them. I want to acknowledge his divine appointment. Again, thank you for your support to this channel, all that you do. Again, like I told everybody, your support to the Mindset Academy goes to the things that we're doing to create and develop, his children. That's just it. Helping to develop understanding, not just in word, but like practicality. Like I've always said, I'm not impressed by a person who quotes scripture. I'm impressed by a person who embodies scripture. That's the person I want to be around. That's the person I want to listen to. Right? Just because you can quote it, that means absolutely nothing. And so that's what the Mindset Academy is all about. So again, thank you, His Divine Appointment, for your support. I'm gonna be a little controversial because you kind of gave us like you gave us a lot. And I don't disagree with anything you just said. Why do so many people expect a spouse to heal a wound that was really about belonging and identity? Because they view their spouse as their God, or they want that spouse to view them as their God. There's worship going on within that relationship in some sense, regardless of whether we want to agree to it or not. And it is positioned in such a way that old sayings have mentally postured you to be there. I give you one, and you guys who've been with us for a while have heard me say this before several times. Happy wife, happy life. So what does that mean to me? That means that my responsibility is to make her happy. You even hear people say a husband's responsibility is to make her happy. Well, if I turn around and I ask you, how do you do that? What is the blueprint to doing that? There is no blueprint. She gets to determine it whenever she wants to, however she wants to, according to how she feels. So what that does is it puts me on like some type of, I don't know, it puts me on unstable ground. I don't know which way to go. I am constantly doing this. I am constantly doing that. I am moving. I'm responding. I'm reacting. I am not doing anything that the Most High called me to do as the husband in the home. Why? Because I can't even hear his voice because all I hear is yours. See, we have these little things and, they're seated constantly along the way. And the seating matters because they're little injections into your psyche and you believe it to be true. Let's go all the way back. Cause see, our generation, yeah, man, definitely idolatry. Our generation has been raised up on nursery rhymes. These stories by Walt Disney. And it has done literally some major work within the psyche of us. So we feel empowered, that's the word, empowered to highlight my gender in the body of Christ simply because in my core competency training, my gender was exalted. How do you know that? Look at Cinderella. Cinderella was raised in the hood. Look, I'm just going to break it down. I'm going to say it what it really is. It was. Go back and look at it. Cinderella was raised in the hood, man. And next thing you know, the King of England's son came over because he had a ball and he seen her. And because he seen her, he put a slipper on her feet. And I want you to come with me. See, y'all don't want to play. I'm just keeping it real. And so now everybody that was raised under meager means per se would say, hey, I want you to come. I want somebody to come rescue me. So dude comes along. He got him a good 9 to 5. He working at the Coca-Cola plant, right? And the Coca-Cola plant is a good job. Don't get me wrong. But it's a dependency on him to take care of all of her problems. But where did that come from? It came from the seeding. Cinderella, you got Snow White and the 7 Imps, right? She fell asleep, and next thing you know, the only person that can wake her up is a prince. So you got Rapunzel. All these different things. It's in your core. I'm not making this up. It's in your core competency upbringing. Why? Because that's what they taught us. It was read in the school system. We slam our kids in front of a TV and put a VHS in there. Y'all remember VHS? Put a VHS in there and let them look at it. Y'all remember the Princess and the Frog? Same. All of these things is in core. You weren't teaching them, you weren't teaching them about Moses. You teach them the feel-good stories. Moses parting the Red Sea. You didn't taught them the hell Moses went through after they went through the Red Sea. You didn't teach them Isaac, Abraham, and Jacob. You didn't teach them those things. Those were the things they were supposed to learn. That was supposed to be their core competency, not Cinderella, not Snow White, not all of this stuff.
I wanted to add to what you said.
Mhm.
They was watching Walt Disney and you were reading them the Bible stories, so they was confused. I'm gonna tell you because my children sure did read. I had the encyclopedias that you buy with all the Bible stories and stuff in it. So we had those in there, but they still watch the cartoons as well. So that can be some confusion as well that they're experiencing because which one do I follow? Which one is right?
Absolutely. That's your foundation. So when you put Walt Disney as a foundation, and then next thing you know, but Jesus, wait a minute. I don't even know who the Most High is. I don't know what the Most High did in response. I don't know that conversation you had with Job. I got some questions for you. Gird yourself up, and I need you to respond as a man. I don't know those things. I didn't understand. I didn't any of those things. But then I hear people say, "I want to have the patience of Job." Do you really? Do you really want to have the patience of Job? Because you don't know what you're asking for. So all of these things are absent and void in the foundational understanding of these adults. So when they get married, you're supposed to be their guy. Yeah, you're right. Cartoons too. Tom and Jerry and all that other great stuff. And then don't look back at them now because you're gonna get your feelings hurt. they was something else. And they was teaching it. They was teaching it. Right? I'm just telling you the truth. I was like, man, I can't believe I used to look at this stuff when I was a kid.
I did not see it.
It was terrible.
We didn't. But as they describe them now, you were like, that's exactly what I was watching. Yeah.
Look, man,
Mm-hmm.
Pepe Le Pew was a womanizer. I'm just saying that's how, and I thought Pepe Le Pew was the man. Like, I'm like, he was hounding us, he was harassing her. I mean, like
the Me Too movement.
you know what?
And Bugs Bunny was a cross dress. I mean, I'm sorry.
But again, these are the things our children are watching.
Yeah.
And here's the sad part about it. Go look at some of the stuff they're watching right now.
Ooh.
The apple don't fall far from the tree. That's all I'm saying.
Mr. Magoo there.
Mr. Magoo, absolutely. Robin Brower, thank you so much for your support to the Mindset Academy. Again, we greatly appreciate that. And again, as I said previously, all proceeds goes back into the academy for the growth and development of his children. Question I have for you guys is, what would change in how a person dates if they truly believe they were already chosen and secure, comma, by him before anyone else ever picked them? Now, there's a caveat to this question because let's talk about mindsets. The name it, blame it, and claim it. I'm sorry, I added an additional in there. I'm sorry. The name it, claim it, and blame it mentality says that God chose me, just me. He did it just for me. No, he didn't. See, this is what I be talking about. Go back and pay attention to what the word actually says. It has nothing to do with Dwayne, has nothing to do with Lisa. We had Robin, his divine appointment. Yes, it's Maya. Terry. It has nothing to do with us individually. It has to do with his son. It was all about his son from the beginning. I say from the book of Genesis, it was all about Christ from day one. So when we start asking questions like, well, if Adam had not eaten, no, and that was Adam, and Adam was chosen to do that. That was his calling. Adam was called to mess up so that he could set the conditions so that the son could come. The son was prophesied in the Old Testament so that the son could come. Right? So that's the thing we have to understand. So don't make it about you individually. It has to be about him. What would change in how a person dates if they truly believe that they were already chosen through the Son? Chosen through the Son. Because now, because of the Son, no one comes to the Son unless they are called by the Father. Okay? So that's the chosen piece we're talking about. Not you in Flatbush, New York. No, not no. No, 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 no. It's the chosen to the Son. God chose you to get right. So when we just walk around saying stuff, I gave my life to Christ. No, you did not give your life to Christ. He gave his life for you. Okay, we gotta cast down some of these broad imaginations that thwart scripture. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Say that one more time. I'm just
You didn't give your life to Christ. He gave his life for you.
Mhm. That's important.
That is important
Mhm.
because what we say matters.
Yes.
Okay. What you say is what you really believe.
Mhm.
Okay. The tongue. The Bible talks about the tongue. Okay, we're running short on time. I got to stop my rants. So again, just want you guys to look at that. Think about that question. Process that. Give us your answers, response moving forward. As we move forward to talking point number 5, which is called the pre-work, becoming. I just want to stop right there.
Mhm.
Becoming. Just let that sit for a second. Why? Be not, be ye, be. Let this mind be. If the word be is throughout scripture, and if we don't pay close attention to it, we miss it. So becoming the person your next relationship needs. See, that sounds different.
Mhm. Mhm.
You become the person that the relationship needs, not look for the person that you claim you need. See, healing is the pre-work, not the reward. The most loving thing you can do for the next relationship is to become secure before you enter it, to do the examination, introspection for those of you who don't get that, to do the examination, the forgiveness, and the rebuilding first. See, we want to build this airplane in flight. No, no, no. Mm-mm. You asking another person to risk their life to go in flight with you. Don't do that. Do the work first. So you bring a whole person to the table instead of an open wound demanding to be dressed. See, Socrates, and it is pronounced Socrates for those of you who get ready to say Socrates. Socrates says the unexamined life is not worth living. Proverbs 4:23 says, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Psalms 139:23, search me, O Lord. Search me, O God, I'm sorry. And know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. See, the data suggests forgiveness, which is a very interesting conversation to have by itself. A core piece of the pre-work, forgiveness is consistently linked to lower anxiety, depression, and stress. That came directly from the American Psychological Association. Releasing the last relationship isn't just spiritual obedience. It's measurably clears the ground for the next one. Okay, no, I'm feeling compelled not to move too fast past that for whatever reason. Some of us have an extremely unhealthy attachment to the outcome of our past relationship. I'm going to say it again. Some of us have an extremely unhealthy attachment to the outcome of our past relationship. And then we look at the outcome and then we blame the other person for the outcome. No, we played a part. We played a part. We were participating in said relationship. If football season coming up, y'all, just want y'all to know that. If the Georgia Bulldogs lose the game, we can't say that the linebacker lost the game. We can't say that the safety lost the game. The whole team lost the game. If a divorce happens, a relationship doesn't work out, the whole team lost the game. Release what you're holding on to as it pertains to your perception. I'll say it again, your perception of the outcome. Your perception of the outcome is not God's perception of the outcome. God's perception is white or black. That is all. I'll say it again, white or black. That is all. Either you abide by the law or you violate the law. There is no in between. So what we need to stop doing is giving ourselves, I say again, giving ourselves grace while trying to convict another person at the same time. Unhealthy attachment to a perceived outcome will always keep you in bondage while that other person moves on with their life. Okay, I'm done with that. Lisa, I got a question for you.
Okay.
What does honest pre-work actually look like for someone between relationships, and how does a person know they've done enough to date again from a healthy place?
This one took me down the rabbit hole, but there are a lot of indicators. I'm thankful that there are a lot of indicators, because this means that I have to ask myself questions, and that I have to respond honestly, because why not? It doesn't even matter if it doesn't feel good. Why not respond to yourself honestly? A lot of times what we do is we lie to ourselves, and because we want to stay there, because being honest and seeing that I did not do this right, I made the wrong decision, tells me that I failed at something. Well, you didn't have enough information, and you made a decision based off of ignorance. But it doesn't alleviate that you're going to have to still feel the consequences of the decisions that were made. So one of the things that I know that I had to do is write it on paper. I think a lot of things help me when I write it and I can see it, and I take these thoughts out of my head, right? Because sometimes when we keep them in there, we're guarding them, right? Because we want to hold on to them, because then it's the vision that I see, that I created for myself. But when you're honest with yourself, you write these things out, and you are honest with yourself, you can see, raw, just as you're hearing them, just as you conceptualize them, write them out. I don't think you should. I think you should grieve because relationship is lost instead of replacing. Take your time. That's a part of the self-examination in healing, and it's okay, right? I think for me, it was I felt like I spent so much time that, I wasted time, right? And that was one of the biggest things for me. I felt like I wasted so much of my life, and I was so upset with myself because of it. Forgive. And that includes yourself. You have to forgive yourself, because why? Why are you staying in this place of unforgiveness? When he talks about unforgiveness, that includes yourself. But I'm not saying excuse behavior or continue in a certain way. I'm saying that you have to forgive yourself and heal, and when it comes to these certain things from decisions that you made, because you may have made the decisions without a lot of information. But you can't continue to say, now I know. So once you know, you are responsible for the decisions that you're making. You can't say, I don't know now. So I think those are part of it, because unforgiveness keeps you connected to the individual. So you must forgive. That's just a part of what you have to do. I'll stop there, because I have so much notes on this one right here. But I will stop there. There are things you can do to, yeah.
No, I like what you were saying. It's a lot that you said that I really kind of wanted to grab and pull, and but then that ain't fair. I don't want to do that. I think I started articulating a lot of the pre-work that was supposed to be done that was never done. And so I cannot, and I just want to be honest as I say this. If I don't know what the instructions are on how to do the thing, and I do the thing, and I failed at the thing that I was trying to do, then I have a requirement to go back to the instructions. Number one. Number two, recognize that even in the instructions tell you that this is not individual work. I think too many times what we do is we experience a hint of embarrassment because of the outcome, Then we go into seclusion or isolation, and then we go and research the scripture. Here's the thing that I want everybody to recognize: this thing has a filter. That filter covers everything that I see. So even in reading the scripture, I am filtering what I am reading. I'm not getting the authentic word according to the intent of the master himself. This is why I stated previously, knoweth thou what thou readest? How can I lest someone teach me? You're going to have to be taught outside of this blindfold that it's like horse blinders. You ever seen horse blinders? They put them on because they want to keep the horse focused. Well, you're so focused in your life that what ends up happening, it doesn't matter what you read, you're going to read it through that lens. What does that lens say? That lens says black power, then I read everything through black power. If that lens say male dominance, I read everything through male dominance. If that lens say female dominance, then I read everything through female dominance. It does not take the authentic word as it is. So now you need someone to challenge that. That's for start. That's just the very beginning. We haven't even gotten into the work yet. That's coming into the classroom. You can't go into the classroom and tell the teacher how to teach. You have to go in there and be willing to be taught. There's an old saying that says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, which means the teacher was already there. You just couldn't see the teacher because you kept doing your own thing, your own way, expecting a different outcome. And Albert Einstein called that lunacy. How many of us have done that over and over again? You will get a little information. I'm not joking when I say that. You get a little information, thinking that little information makes you knowledgeable. Wrong. That little information that make you knowledgeable, that little information made you aware. Awareness does absolutely nothing unless you do something according to that which you're aware of. That's it. Hold on a second, please.
So I will add, as we wait for Coach, is that I want to say this: you're never going to be 100% of anything. You're always going to be working all the time. It never ends. You're going to constantly be doing this work. So if you think you're going to go into a place like I'm completely healed and whole, and then you think that, and then you realize, and when something comes up to provokes a thought or a response to something, and then you begin to blame yourself for how you responded to it, it just means that I'm continuing to work on this thing. It doesn't mean that there's failure, but it means work is always going to be necessary. You're always going to have to do it.
So let me finish what I'm saying real quick, because I want to get into final thoughts, and I don't want to rob you of your final thoughts. So getting into the classroom, you don't go into the classroom and tell the teacher how to teach. You go into the classroom with a willingness to be taught. I'm going to say it again. You go into the classroom with a willingness to be taught. Pay close attention to what the world is teaching. The world is teaching to such a degree that it is telling students that they do not have to subject themselves to the teacher's teaching. In fact, they will tell you that who knows how to teach you better than you. So if that is true, then tell me what discipleship is all about. Why does the Bible talk about discipleship? Now, again, you can let the world raise your kids. You can even let the world continue to raise you. But again, the Bible talks about discipleship. The Bible talks about humility. The Bible talks about being coachable, which is all about, that's all scripture. So you can't call yourself like just rejecting information simply because it doesn't fit your narrative. It might be a good thing it doesn't fit your narrative, because now you're getting ready to learn something you didn't know. Awareness by itself does absolutely nothing for nobody. And until you get that, you'll stop saturating yourself with all these different people on the internet, thinking that the information that they're giving you means you well. They know it doesn't mean you well. You just don't know it. And so now they're the new Walt Disney. Okay. I think this was a good conversation. At least I hope it was good. So I really want to get into our final thoughts. Again, thank you to everybody who's participated, your comments, your donations, so forth and so on. Greatly appreciate you, value you being here, and make sure you keep coming back because you're going to get more of a lot more. I say it that way. So, Lisa, I kind of want to give you the floor, and I'm gonna go on mute, and I want you to kind of give the people what you got.
Well, in final thoughts, I want to say thank you again for being here, and I really truly always learn from these conversations because the questions provoke me to continue to search and dig and learn and grow. So I'm always appreciative of these conversations and how we are learning together. Relationships are so important for us to understand, and understanding that there is a blueprint. When I hear people say there's no blueprint on marriage, there's no blueprint on raising up children, there is a blueprint. Now, if we don't take the time to seek and to ask and to knock and to sit down together in community and have these honest conversations without blinders on, we will never find it because trust me, it's there. Why would it not be? So I want to say there is so much that we have to learn and we have to unlearn pertaining to relationships, our mindset, and the way that we are thinking that relationships are to serve us. No, we are supposed to serve each other. And the example that God has given us is right there in the same place where you find the blueprint for marriage and for raising families. So I want to say that, and I'm going to land right there. Thank you so much.
Um, Thank you, Lisa. Um, Life is hard. I get it. But life is going to happen regardless. It doesn't really matter. Um, and I want everybody to understand that you're not broken beyond repair. You are a son. You are a daughter. And the God who healeth the broken in heart is not finished with your story. But I would also say that healing is a decision and it starts before the next relationship, not inside it. And so if you would change this to the um, relational intelligence webinar, please, because we built a free relational intelligence profile, a short self assessment that helps you see how your prior wound has affected you and see exactly where to start healing. It's free. Link is in this. Just scan that, right? And just grab it. Grab it today while your heart is still open. Take that information into our upcoming webinar on August 8th at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it is literally called the Relational Intelligence Webinar. Now you got the Relational Intelligence Profile, and then you have the Relational Intelligence Webinar. They go hand in hand. And the webinar itself is free. You can't lose. We've even made it easy. Register for the webinar, and you get the assessment on the next button after registration. It's that simple. And if you're ready to actually do the work, not alone, of course, because I just got finished saying that we don't do it alone, but with the community and the guide, that's exactly what we walk through inside the Mindset Academy. When you take the free check, you'll see we'll show you your next door. And the last thing I'm going to present to you is do one thing for someone you love. Do something for somebody else. Share this episode with a person who keeps asking, why me again? You might be handing them the answer they've been praying for. So bring me up a big screen, please. So listen, I want you guys to know that we care. That's why we have conversation to this extent. We really care about the outcome of God's children. And I know it's a lot of God's children that's out there hurting because they have an improper operating system. They keep getting default messages after default messages after default messages. So I want to make sure I'm saying that. Until next time, listen, let the best version of yourself be a blessing to somebody else. Heal first, love better. And remember, you were never meant to be an orphan. You've always belong to the Most High. Be blessed. See you guys next month.